I tried to always do things that I felt passionately about at the time. So in college, I loved to write. I was an English major, and then I added journalism because I was very curious. Started my career as a television reporter because it was a great outlet for my curiosity. As a television reporter, I fell in love with the political process, so I moved into the political process, did the grassroots of politics, worked my way up through, eventually became executive director of the Republican Party, went to work for a candidate I believed in who ultimately decided to run for president of the United States. So I was, it's sort of shocking when I look back at my career that kind of all that happened. I think the key is to do something that you really truly care about and you're passionate about and you're willing to pour yourself into. And then I'm a real stickler for preparation. My staff still laughs at me, but I don't do meetings that I'm not prepared for. I read a briefing book on the plane on the way to Singapore with information about all the clients and news clips about things happening in Singapore and information about what the government's doing and information about the recent elections in May and information about the presidential elections coming up, because I really believe in being prepared. And I think we're only able to be effective at our job if we're willing to take that time for preparation. And I think that's really important, and that shows that you're serious, and that helps you be taken seriously, and also gives you a level of credibility, I think, that otherwise you might not have. When you work in the White House and at the State Department and in these other high-profile government jobs, you get very accustomed to dealing with a variety of issues on the course of any single given day. People used to ask me in my Sunday school classes about West Wing, the television show, and say, is it really like what it's like in the West Wing? And I would always tell them that the difference was that the television show always focused on only one issue. And I never had a single day like that at the White House. We were always dealing with 15 or 16 or 30 issues. And so I really felt that I would like the variety of the industry sectors that we work with the different clients that we work with. And it really makes for an interesting day to go from energy to auto to financial services to some of the public sector issues. And so it really makes for an interesting day. The one thing you learn very quickly in politics, if you're a candidate for public office, you have to define yourself, or you're going to be defined by somebody else. Your opponent usually will try to define you. Yeah. And I believe today's corporations have to define themselves, or they're going to be defined by someone else. Either an activist consumer group, an environmental group, mom bloggers, some other stakeholders who either don't like what the company is doing or maybe are raising questions about what the company is doing. And so I really feel like companies today need to be out there engaging and defining themselves and engaging in a conversation with their stakeholders, or they risk being defined by someone else, and they probably won't like the way they're defined by somebody else. I really felt Burson expanded my capabilities. My expertise is in strategic positioning and message development. I couldn't do a website if you paid me to do a website, and yet we have great digital people that I can call on if my client needs a website. And I've also found that whatever you need, the chances are that expertise is available somewhere at Burson. And I've had some strange requests that I've had to reach out and say, does anybody know anything about X? And sure enough, we have an expert on that in our office in Singapore or in Paris or in somewhere. And so it really provides a wealth of expertise that I felt would help me do a better job for my clients, and that's important to me.